So tell us a little bit about how did it affect your work and your personal life then? Things were different. And
work was, at that point I had left the city after almost being there 12 years, I think, and I had started my own little management company. I was doing pretty well. Had a couple of clients. And I was playing with a great R&B group based here locally, the Blues House Rockers. And, you know, I could feel things start to feel funny. Drumming to me is like walking. I can do it. I could chew gum, and what's that expression?
Right. Right. Or you can do it in your sleep.
Yeah.
Right?
And you could find, and then you found things that just didn't make sense.
Sure.
Why isn't this feeling right? When you go to do something or hit the drum, why isn't it sound the same? Or why is it taking longer to do this or do that? So you start making adjustments.
Right. Right.
And then what happens is you basically try to rearrange your life. And like I said, the meds keep you going for a while. I'll never forget the doctor saying that day in Troy, New York. He said, I think with meds you can get a good 8 years in. I didn't know what the heck he was talking about. What do you mean a good 8 years?
Yeah.
What are you talking about? I'm tough. I'm going to go right through this. You see, the hard thing about it, Tim, is that if you're a strong personality, it's very hard on you because I was able to overcome so many obstacles in my life to become who I became.
Right.
And I was inspired by many people, great musicians, my parents, my girlfriend.
Right.
And, you know, things like that. So it was very difficult knowing that it's not going to get better.
Right.
It's not going to change. It's not going to get better.
Right.
I think that's the hard part. That's the hard part, is adjusting to that.
Sure.
And you can adjust for a while because if your meds are working and everything's going well, it'll keep you moving for a while.
Sure.
But all of a sudden in 2011, I noticed my meds weren't working any longer. They did not do what they're supposed to do. Calm me down, make me walk easier, make me just basically have a little better frame of life.
Sure.
And I didn't know what to do. That leads us to the deep brain stimulation.
Yeah, I was just going to say that's about 8 years when he said.
Yeah, so ironically,
years,
it was
right?
that. He was right on the money.
Wow, that's something, huh? So, so for 8 years we were
pretty normal.
Controlled.
Yeah, but I could feel my. So professionally, I had to make some adjustments.
Yes.
We're talking about personally.
Right.
Let's go from the personal part.
Yes, please.
A supportive significant other is a main necessity of any degenerative sickness. Any sickness.
Right.
Heart disease, Alzheimer's, Parkinsons, or worse, Lou Gehrig's.
Right.
Your partner has to be supportive.
Right.
Mine, fortunately, is the most supportive person in the world.
Very fortunate to have.
Very. So she lifts me up when I'm down. She, she always makes sure that I'm eating right, or and just she really cares. And that is a main thing in if you have somebody that's there for you.
Yes.
When you're up, when you're down,
Right.
can help you get through life.
Right.
If you're alone, as time goes on, it's a lot tougher.
It's a lot tougher, right?
So,
not everyone has what you're speaking about.
No.
You're very fortunate.
So I have to give a nod to my girlfriend Maureen and her family.
Right.
Her sons have helped me as well,
Sure.
Richard and John. And, my friends, oh my God, where do I start? Including Baptist Health, who I did a speech about 2 months ago.
Yes, you did. You spoke with
support group.
the Parkinsons support
There's
group.
so many
yes.
people that have helped me. So this is why, what do I have to be angry about? In other words, I've had a great life. I got a challenge. All right, it's a challenge. But I've had a great life.
Right. Right.
I've surpassed things I haven't dreamed of. Here I am interviewing Paul McCartney. Are you kidding me?
That's right.
I could have died and went to heaven the next day. It didn't really matter.
Sure.
So if you look on the scale of things, my life has been much more positive than negative. It hasn't impacted negatively only recently. In the past few years, has it been really tough.
Right. Right. Right, and we want to talk a little bit about the deep brain stimulation.
Right.
Once again, if you've just logged on, my name is Tim Bartos. I'm talking with Bob Gerard. Bob is an author, an entertainer, a motivational speaker. Bob also suffers with Parkinson's disease, and he's been telling us a little bit about his experience with being diagnosed about 11 years ago with Parkinson's disease and his life since being diagnosed. If you have questions that you'd like to ask Bob, or you would like to comment on anything that we're talking about here today, you can email us at chat@cbs6albany.com, or you can send your question or your comment through the CBS 6 Facebook page. We'd love to hear from you. So let's get back to, you mentioned that about a couple years ago that things began to get a little worse.
My meds started wearing off. Usually typical Parkinson's, the most common Parkinson's medicine is called Sinemet.
Yes.
In my case, I take a fast-acting version of that called Parcopa. Melts under my tongue. And it works
And it
fast.
works almost instantly?
Usually your meds last 4 hours. I noticed mine started wearing off in 2011 in the spring. Maybe 2 hours, and then 1 hour, and then, forget it. They didn't work at all. So I had just found out, we started doing some...
And before you go on with that, the meds help with the shaking, the tremors, the speech. How do the meds help?
Well, the meds help, although I'm shaking a little bit now, the meds help by artificially manufacturing a substance called dopamine, which is the prime neurological... what's the word I'm looking for? Dopamine is the substance that needs to be manufactured in your brain.
Right.
So that gives your muscles and your nerve endings the ability to move.
Right, and that's something you lose with Parkinson's.
You lose brain cells.
Right. So
these pills artificially make the brain into thinking they're making dopamine.
Right, yes.
Which help. But they're only good for a
few hours.
Periodic.
Right.
But if we didn't have those, you'd forget about it.
That's right. Yeah, that's
Thank
right.
God.
They've been real
help. They've been helpful to anybody who's got Parkinson's. Anybody. So I just noticed they started wearing off sooner and sooner. So we started looking into. I talked it over with my girlfriend, and I said, "What do you think we should do?" She said, "Well, I don't know. Well, what would you want to do?" And I said, "Well, let's look into deep brain stimulation." So we did, and we were just about to go to Boston, but we had found out my girlfriend's nurse friend was the nurse of her neurologist.
Okay.
And she suggested Dr. Julie Politzis, who had just come on board from, I believe it was the University of Massachusetts, Worcester facility.
At Albany Medical Center.
At Albany Med.
Right.
She had transferred over there, and she was heading up the brain surgery, the deep brain stimulation unit. So we met with her. She was fantastic, young, articulate, really cutting edge. Excuse the pun.
It's great.
And I said, I don't fear this any longer. I feel 100% confident in this person.
Sure.
I put her life in my hands. Put my life in her hands.
Right.
And
so you changed your plans rather than go to Boston.
Yeah.
You decided to let her do it right here at Albany Medical Center.
And it was wonderful. I mean, the experience, scary.
I'm sure.
But
I'm sure.
The outcome enabled me to go from 20 pills a day to 10.
Is that right?
And
Cut in half.
I'm still cutting the medication in half.
Oh my gosh, that's wonderful.